going to use technology to change the whole world and basically overturn the monetary system of the world. And we can debate on how much it succeeded or how little it succeeded. And there were parts of it that I think have worked, and parts of it where the jury is still out. But the basic idea was that we could never win an election on getting certain things because we were in such a small minority. But maybe you could actually unilaterally change the world without having to constantly convince people and beg people and plead with people who are never going to agree with you through technological means.
We uncovered this clip of Peter Thiel talking in 2010 about how his political views were so unpopular, he needed to use technology to change the minds of Americans. And you'll never guess where he ended up, because he was a libertarian, but then, by 2016, he was a full-throated Trump supporter.
We're voting for Trump because we judge the leadership of our country to have failed. Now that someone different is in the running, someone who rejects the false, reassuring stories that tell us everything is fine, his larger-than-life persona attracts a lot of attention. Nobody would suggest that Donald Trump is a humble man. But the big things he's right about amount to a much-needed dose of humility in our politics.
Now, Peter Thiel, one of the original investors in PayPal, along with Elon Musk, has used his many billions of dollars to influence political races across the country. He's tried unsuccessfully in some Senate races, but some of his crowning achievements now shape White House policy, both Trump and Shady Vance.
One of your primary sponsors is a guy, Peter Thiel, right? Yeah. And he's in the tech world.
Yep. Peter Thiel donated $15 million to Vance's super PAC in 2022. Ideology-wise, they're pretty similar. They're both anti-diversity, they're both anti-women, and they're both anti-welfare. And when it comes to technology, they're both anti-regulation. They support unchecked corporate power, especially in Silicon Valley.
The White House is reportedly teaming up with controversial tech powerhouse Palantir, the data analysis and technology firm co-founded by Trump megadonor Peter Thiel. The purpose? To build a federal database tracking millions of Americans. Supporters say it'll stop fraud and boost efficiency. Critics call it a surveillance nightmare.
Now, why would this set off alarm bells? Palantir is building a massive data collection and surveillance apparatus, and while you might think that's going to be used to help stop crime or weed out terrorists, it's actually being used to surveil us. The Biden administration even contracted them, and the Department of Defense has contracted them since 2016. And unsurprisingly, they also have contracts with Israel. How cool. And now they want to use this technology to find undocumented immigrants. Sadly, I think we're used to being tracked. It's been the case since 9/11, the expansion of the surveillance state, the expansion of Homeland Security. Ultimately, we're talking about individual liberties and civil rights being violated. It's an encroachment on your privacy, but it's sold to you as an effective way to fight terrorism. And you think about how it's manifested in every other aspect of our life, even down to shopping trackers on your web browser. Scholars and researchers call it surveillance capitalism. We've gotten so used to it, everyone just seems okay with it. And that didn't used to be the case. But what's the difference here?
You know how you get notice when someone has hacked your data as a part of a breach of some private company? Well, consider this your warning that your data may have been breached. And in this case, the culprit is Donald Trump. So what is this all about? Well, the Department of Homeland Security is seeking to get access to millions and millions and millions of records of Americans from the IRS. They are building a computer system in which the Department of Homeland Security can, through an automated process, get access to taxpayer records.
So just a few months ago, we started hearing about databases within DHS and IRS, SSA, across government being linked together. The purpose at the time was very unclear, but from my reporting that I've done with my colleague Victoria Elliott, we've learned that it seems as if this is a process to mix data from government agencies that immigrants often report to, so IRS and tax data, all these kinds of things that can track their most recent addresses and things like that into one database that already, USCIS has a tremendous amount of data on anyone seeking, any kind of to immigrate into this country. And so the Palantir process with its software foundry basically becomes the window for all of this data and allows folks at DHS and maybe even at other agencies, we're not quite sure yet, to submit queries and to find information and link it together about folks all across the country.
And what kind of checks are there on this merging of data systems?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, at this point, we don't really know for sure.
He's talking about one big database for all of us, like your tax information, your address, your home information, your dependents, your social security number. And if it's all in one place, that's extremely vulnerable if there ever is a data breach. But while it's still operational, they want to use this to find undocumented people.
A March executive order pushes all federal agencies to share their data, effectively giving Palantir the keys to the kingdom. At least 4 major agencies are already on board: the IRS, Homeland Security, Health and Human Services, and the Social Security Administration. Each channeling sensitive data like medical claims, bank accounts, even immigration records into one central database.
On its face, it looks like the government is trying to save money in terms of operations, not doing the same thing over and over again. When you look a little deeper, or perhaps the implications or the risk is putting all the information together at one time going to create a greater risk for the American public.
The goal? Catch fraud, spot threats before they escalate, and streamline how government works. The pitch is compelling: fewer wasted tax dollars, faster services, and smarter law enforcement. But Palantir, co-founded by Trump ally Peter Thiel, would have unprecedented access to Americans' personal data. That has some employees walking away.
But all of this surveillance works when people live in a culture of fear. Fear of terrorism, fear of crime, fear of undocumented people in their neighborhood. And the Trump administration has weaponized that fear to implement some of the most brutal and barbaric crackdowns on immigration that we have ever seen. If we all just had a little bit more acceptance, a little bit more compassion, and a little bit more love for those around us, these types of systems would never be implemented because their attempts to weaponize fear wouldn't be successful. So it's important to see through what people like Peter Thiel are trying to do, to fight against these immigration crackdowns and to call for proactive regulation on these types of tech companies. And this fight might be hard, but it's an important one. And we'll keep talking about stories like this on this channel. So if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe.
Hello everybody, David Schuster here. Thanks for watching. If you found this reporting and commentary valuable, do us a favor and tap the like button. For more content like this, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. That way you'll be notified on your YouTube homepage when we drop a new video. If you are tired of corporate spin and want honest, people-focused news, click the join button below and be part of the fight for a better future. We wouldn't be here without your support. Stay informed. Stay engaged, and thanks again for joining us.